Hi, welcome to this episode of Comm Speak on Founder India TV. Today we have a really special guest. Special because he's one of the few people who has been in one organization for over 30 years. Kalyanpur Mohan Rao Prashanth, Prashanth in short, has spent close to 31 and a half years at NTPC Limited. He began there as an engineer in 1988 and then moved into the communications function. He now heads corporate communications for NTPC Limited. Welcome, Prashanth, and thanks for joining us on CommSpeak.
Thank you, Amith, for calling me here.
It's a pleasure. We'll start by asking you about your childhood and your growing up years. Tell us more about that. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? And how did you get into communications later?
Yeah, Amith, I was born in Tamil Nadu, in Karur, and then I started my studies in Trivandrum. I did my schooling and college in Trivandrum. I did my schooling in Holy Angels Convent, and then after that I diverted to St. Joseph's College. And my college was College of Arts in Trivandrum. And schooling has been very interesting. A lot of extracurricular activities, little bit of studies, little bit of sleep and eating also, not particularly in this order. But I remember in school that I was very much interested in playing cricket. So in school we had the girls hockey team playing. So we used to borrow the hockey bats from them and play cricket. So that was interesting, and later on in school we also did little bit of quizzing also. That passion I am still carrying it with me. And then after my college I did engineering at College of Engineering Trivandrum, and after doing my engineering I joined NTPC. So it has been a lot of interesting childhood I had.
Right. So why did you join NTPC? Was there a reason you chose NTPC or it just happened?
Frankly speaking, it just happened because after engineering, a lot of guys took the CAT exam and the XLR exam. That was the usual exam most of them took. I had taken a couple of exams from public sector undertakings and I got selected to NTPC. And then I still remember when I got my selection, my father had gone to the post office because father was telling you should write GRE and go abroad. So I had filled up one GRE form and my father had gone to the post office. And the postman had delivered this NTPC offer letter to my father then. So my father opened that offer letter at the post office and he came back and told me that NTPC is a good company to join, so you join NTPC. So that's how I joined NTPC.
And then you joined NTPC as an engineer, and then eventually you moved into corporate communications and now head the corporate communications function for the company. How did that transition happen? How did you move from being an engineer with the company to becoming a corporate communications executive and then the leader?
It was really by chance it happened because after joining engineering, I was in engineering department for 4 years. I was in the control and instrumentation division of NTPC. And then out of my interest, I did a part-time course in journalism from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. It was a part-time course from evening 6 to 9 from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. And I had a bit of interest in reading and writing. So while doing that course, I had met my head of Comm at the time, Mr. R.K. Nair. And so he suggested to me that if you are interested to join Comm, you can come and join. So I got shifted from engineering to corporate communication.
Was that easy to shift?
Initially, it was difficult because it was completely a sea change. Because while in engineering, what we do is we look after one area of engineering and continue looking after that for maybe for 1 year or 2 years. If you're looking after boiler engineering or a turbine engineering, we do it for a long time. But in Comm, every day there is different things happening.
Right.
So initially it was a bit of difficult, but then I quickly got hold of it.
Did your boss at engineering let you go to Comm easily?
Yeah, he let me go to Comm easily, fortunately.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we are very familiar in the world we work in with the private sector. We rarely interact with the public sector corporate communications leaders. So tell us more about how a corporate communications function in a public sector works. What's different? What are the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that you feel are unique to the public sector undertaking that you work at?
See, most of the public sectors are, functioning because of support from the Government of India. So most of them report to Government of India, ministries. So that is one major difference between a government company and a private company. And with regard to work, I don't think there is much difference between public relations in a private company and a government company. But what happens in government companies, we have a lot of regulations and rules to be followed. We have something called right to information that is applicable to government companies, not to private companies. So in that way, we have to be very, very credible. We have to be very, very transparent in giving out information. So that is one major area of difference I find that in government companies and private companies. If you look at the structure of Comm, what in NTPC, what we have is we have a corporate office where we have 6 professionals, and in all our units also we have professional corporate communication people. And NTPC has got really professional Comm guys, and we have every year we organize a Comm meet. I think you also had come for the last Comm meet, and for the last 30 years we have been organizing Comm meet. So from that you can know how important the field of Comm is given by the company. So that's how it works in NTPC.
Well, so when I was at your Corp offsite, I met a bunch of young graduates which just hired from our campus a few months ago. Tell us more about that. How does NTPC invest in this young set of graduates and then post them in different NTPC centers across the country? Tell us more about that program.
See, what we last recruited professionals in the year of 2014. So after that, we are not recruited. Manpower is a constraint for any organization. But looking at the growth strategy of NTPC, we felt that it's high time we took professionals to NTPC. So last year, we have gone to Indian Institute of Mass Communication and we selected 8 young graduates. We are very much impressed with them because they come out with new ideas and they also motivate us to learn a lot of new things also. So it was very learning experience for us, and I'm sure that the youngsters are also learning a lot of things because initially they had some difficulty because I still remember one of the guys was posted in a project in Bard. So
Where
it's
is
a
that?
coal mining project in Bihar. So he had a lot of anxiety. He was telling my father had gone to the website. He told me that the law and order situation is very bad in that location. So will something happen to me? So then I advised him, see, these are the challenges you're getting at a very young age. So if you are successful in dealing with these challenges, in future you're going to be very, very comfortable. So now I'm glad to say that he has joined that project and is very happy with that location. So because all the NTPC projects are located in remote locations,
Right.
it's not in proper cities. So they have their own set of challenges. We have to deal with local journalists. We have to deal with who do both marketing as well as editorials. So the challenges are different, and each of our location has got nearly ranging from 500 to 2,000 employees.
Right.
So internal communications also becomes a big challenge. And NTPC has now completed nearly 45 years. So we have Generation X, we have baby boomers, we have Generation Z also now joining NTPC. How do we communicate to all these 3 categories of people? That's also becomes a big challenge. So it's a lot of challenges there in dealing with all these areas.
So what's the total strength of the communications people at NTPC across the country?
So if you look at professionals, we have around 30 professionals across NTPC. But in some of the locations, we have HR guys looking after Comm also. We have skilled them so that they are able to handle Comm also. So that's how it works in NTPC.
That number will go beyond 50 or 60.
It'd be around 50.
So tell us about what have been your highlights of your work in the last 30 years at NTPC in corporate communications. Tell us 2 or 3 things that stand out for you, maybe one from each decade or just 2 or 3 things that stand out for you that are...
See, if you look at the growth of corporate communication in the last 3 decades, there is a lot of sea changes happening also. Because when I joined NTPC, I still remember Doordarshan was a big entity for us, because when we do a video coverage, my boss used to tell it should come in either the 7:30 Doordarshan news or the 9 o'clock news. So after each event, we used to go to Mandi House, Doordarshan office. We used to sit at the 4th floor at that office and ensure that we get coverage. So that was the pressure that was happening then. And even for media releases also, one team used to go to ITO office and another team used to go to Hindustan Times, that Kasturba Gandhi, because most of the media houses were located in these areas. From that to now, we don't even go to any office. There are so many channels coming in. There is social media happening. There is a lot of changes, but if you look at the kind of job we did, we are probably the first company to come out with a corporate identity manual. In the early 1990s itself, we knew that, the importance of, how to place the logo type, the corporate signature. So in the early 90s itself, we had work with National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, and we came out with a corporate identity manual. So that was a very interesting job. Then when we completed 25 years, we made a film through Shyam Benegal. We went to Shyam Benegal's office and we made a corporate film showing the journey of NTPC. So that was also a very challenging job. And when it came to the 2000 decade, we launched the IPO in the year 2004, which was very, very successful. So that was, we had learn a lot of new things during the launch of the IPO. And then off late, if you look at it, we have also successfully transferred to, digital communication. We have an internal app called Samvad, which is totally digital. It's an app in the Android and mobile phones. You can use that and you get to know the information happening across NTPC on real-time basis. We have completely stopped the printed house journals, and across NTPC also now we don't have any printed journals at all. Everything is through an app. So we are completely transferred from a printed house journal to a digital house journal now. So that's also a lot of challenge we had.
You mentioned you have 6 people in your team. What does each one oversee? What are the different departments or divisions you've created from a corporate communications point of view?
Okay, in NTPC, what we have done is we have one team looking after media management, because we have, being India's largest power generating company, we have media people asking us questions every now and then. So we have a small team, 1 or 2 persons looking after media management. Then we have another person looking after social media, because that is also gained a lot of traction nowadays, and NTPC is now very much into most of the media platforms like Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and we have seen that during the last couple of years, the growth has been more than 200%. It could be because of a lot of gamification we have in this social media platform. We do a lot of gamification also in the social media platform. So that is one team looking after social media. Then we have another one person looking after exhibitions and films. So because NTPC being a global company, we participate in a lot of international exhibitions also. So we have one person looking after that and one person looking after films also. So that's how the workload.
So there's
and of course,
media relations, there is social media, digital, there's exhibition and films.
And then we have one person looking after advertising also. Advertising also, we have something called goodwill advertisement and something called sponsorship.
Right.
So this is
So
how
all these report into you. That's part of your team. Interesting. And then CSR is separate. Another team looks after, or CSR is under your mandate as well?
CSR is not directly under my mandate, but what is the change we are seeing in the last 5-6 years is that the CSR does a lot of activities, but it needs to be projected properly. So we interact frequently with the CSR team, and we do a lot of films for them. We have brought out a coffee table book also for the CSR department. So we not only with the CSR department, even with the investor group also, even though we have a separate head for the investor group, we also interact with the investor group, with the contracts department, also with the engineering department also. Basically, it's an engineering company. So how do we simplify the engineering and take it to the stakeholders? That's also a very important role to be played. So that's also taken care of our department.
Do you have a lot of crises that come your way? Does NTPC see a lot of crises at your plants or in general? Is crisis a big thing at NTPC or not?
It's not very frequently happening, crisis, fortunately, but it happens. I mean, usually I tell my colleagues that usually crisis happens during Friday evening. So, but it's not so frequently it happens. But we had a couple of crises recently also. We had one ash dike in Vindhyachal, had a leakage. So what we learned is that time we had a district magistrate of that location praising NTPC. So that's what we always tell, that those micro influencers are also very important in a project, because when it comes to especially when it comes to a crisis, a third person telling that NTPC has not done any harm becomes very important. Right. So that was one crisis, and couple of years back also we had a major accident in a project of NTPC. But what we have done always after a crisis is we learn a lot of new things after handling a crisis. So it has always been a learning experience, and we have seen to improve it also, because after this Uncha crisis, we completely relooked at our safety aspects of NTPC. We completely rejigged our engineering also, so that such type of crisis doesn't repeat itself. So after each crisis, we regroup and try to see how improvements can be made so that it's not repeated.
Right. So, I mean, you spent all your life in NTPC, you've been in the public sector, but I'm sure you look at private sector and other organizations as well from time to time to gain inspiration, gain ideas, and sometimes best practices as well. So, share with me or with our audience a couple of things that stand out for you as great campaigns you've seen from other companies, it could be private, public, or whoever else, some couple of campaigns that stand out for you that are like, wow, I wish I was on that team. I wish my team worked on such a campaign. So what are those one or two campaigns that stand out for you?
See, this Amul campaign, I found it very interesting because it started off way back in 1966. And even now, if you look at that campaign, it is still topical. And as per the times, they keep on changing it. So that is one campaign I feel that it has stood the test of time, even though it started way back.
The Taste
that
of India campaign,
Taste
you
of
mean?
it, the Amul baby, that moped,
Okay, the
utterly
Amul
butterly
butter you
delicious,
mean, right,
utterly
right.
butterly delicious campaign. So that has stood for a long time, come out really well. That is one campaign I still remember. And then, of course, the Apple campaign, where very interestingly, they don't talk about the product, but they take about the photography. Because that Apple ads, they're telling you the best photographs are getting from the Apple phone. That's also very interesting, where a company is not talking about the core competency of the phone, but something else.
Talking of the camera quality.
Camera
Phone is
quality,
just, by the way.
and things like that. So these two campaigns, I think, has really inspired me.
Interesting. So we'll take a break from your work talk and we'll move to something that is non-work. So what do you do in your leisure time? What do you do in your free time? How do you unwind beyond work?
I do a lot of listening to music. I do a lot of reading also. And off late, I even started playing cricket also. I was part of the NTPC cricket team. In fact, I was captain also at one time. And for the last 10, 12 years, we have not played, but the cricket team members from my generation thought that age is not a barrier, let's start playing again. So these are the things
Are you a bowler or a
do.
batsman or all rounder?
I'm a bowler.
Nice.
So cricket is one thing, listening to music is another thing.
Yeah, you didn't talk about quizzing. I know you're an avid quizzer. You love taking part in various quizzes, open quizzes, and you have different teammates usually you take part with. Tell us more about that, your interest in quizzing, and how did you go about becoming an avid quizzer, winning prizes across various quizzing formats?
I started quizzing from 8th standard. The first quiz I still remember, we participated in a quiz of All India Radio. So, and in one round, they were asking questions about, I think, speed of animals. They were asking what is the normal speed of tortoise, what's the normal speed of a leopard, and things like that. And we were trailing from another team. So at that time, what we did was we gave a range of answers. Like the speed of a leopard was maybe from 70 kilometers per hour to 100 kilometers per hour. I mean, we didn't give an exact answer, but we gave a range. So the quizmaster was slightly baffled, but he was giving us all the points. So in that round, we made a lot of points and we won the quiz. So that was my first quiz at 8th standard. And then I still continued quizzing. Our college came to the national finals of quiz time also. I don't know whether you remember 1986. There was Siddharth Basu
Yes,
used
on
to do
Doordarshan, right?
on Doordarshan. So the second quiz time, my College of Engineering Trivandrum came to the national finals.
So you were in the team.
I was part of the team, and the other teams, AFMC Pune was there, St. Joseph's Bangalore was there, and IIM Calcutta was there. So that was a big break. A team from Trivandrum coming all the way to Delhi and reaching to the national finals. And fortunately, after joining NTPC, also the company gives a lot of encouragement for not only for professional growth but also personal development. So I have started participating even quizzes representing NTPC also. So we have won the All India Management Association quiz, the Brand Equity quiz, and of late I have been a quiz master also. So it's good. What I would say is that, quizzing is one thing, but I would suggest the youngsters to even participate in debates and elocution also. Because for a corporate communicator, if he has got good knowledge and if he has got good communication skills, it will be a deadly combination. So for the youngsters, probably I didn't participate much in debate and, those type of competition then, but I think for a corporate communicator, if he does these two things, I think it will be a very good combination.
So, 32 years at NTPC, okay, 4 years were engineering. How many bosses have you had in corporate communications over the 28 years in corporate communications?
I think it'd be around 8 to 10 bosses I would have had.
Almost one every 3 or 4 years,
4
maybe.
years, absolutely.
So tell us, you can choose to name him or her or not, but tell us about a boss who really stood out for you and why that person stood out for you. What did you learn or get inspired from that boss?
I think one boss who really stood out for me was Mr. R.K. Nair. He was the person heading Comm when I joined NTPC. So he had a very good knack of, building up relationship with various stakeholders. And he had a wonderful sense of humor also. So even in tight situations, I would see that through his humor, he used to get his work done. So, and he had very good written and communication skills, written communication skills, as well as verbal communication skills. So he has inspired us a lot, and not only for NTPC, he's called the father figure of even public sector public relations forum.
I see.
He had started a forum called Public Sector Public Relations Forum during the early 1990s. So, and that forum is still active now, of course, in various other avatars. But he has been a, sort of a founding father figure of,
Is he
corporate.
around?
He's still around. He's still
Delhi?
in Trivandrum.
Nice.
I still keep in touch with him. And his sense of humor, even in spite of, I think he must be touching the late 70s now, his sense of humor has still not stopped. Because today morning, in fact, I saw a WhatsApp message saying that, silence is also equally important for growth or something like that. Somebody had sent a WhatsApp message like that. And he had replied to that message saying that that's why I've been silent for such a long time. I mean, even in spite of his age, his sense of humor has not stopped. So he has inspired
So
me a
what
lot.
excites you to go to work every day? 28 years, same company, same location also, right? Largely.
Largely same
Yeah.
location.
What excites you to go back to the office every morning?
See, I think if you look at Comm, the variety of the job is really different. I mean, every day, because you go prepared saying that you would be doing this kind of job in the morning, but once you reach office, sometimes it could be completely different. So you would be probably handling media in the morning, then after that probably looking at films or social media and things like that. So one of the variety of content makes it really exciting. And another thing is now, if you look at the field of Corpcom also, there is a lot of changes happening. You really have to, learn, relearn, and even unlearn a lot of things also. So that's also a bit of a challenge. Like while we were growing up, there was nothing called social media. But now, if you look at Corpcom, there's a lot of emphasis on social media. So, and when we were working, the media reports used to come on next day's newspaper. So we were only worried next day. I mean, 24 hours we had some freedom to relax. But now, every second some tweet happening somewhere or something happening either here or there. So we have to react immediately. So in that way, it's become more of a really 24 by 7 kind of job now.
So what do you see are the challenges for youngsters getting into the profession today?
I think a lot of changes are happening. So the corporate communicators needs to be prepared for all these changes, because he might be now concentrating more on digital media, but going ahead probably artificial intelligence might come in, IoT might come in. So he should be prepared for changes. That's going to be a big challenge. And of course, the basics of corporate communications still remain intact. I mean, the reading skills should be there. What I find now with social media coming in is that the attention span of youngsters are getting less day by day. I mean, they'll be doing one thing for 1 second and then they'll be doing something else. So in these circumstances, I think the basics of PR, like good writing skills, that is going to stay. Content is going to be very, very important. So I think these are going to stay for a long time.
So your advice to youngsters would be to focus on reading and writing, and what else?
Reading, writing, and also networking. Because not only external networking, internal networking is also important. Because as a corporate communicator, you have to get information from all the departments of the organization. So networking and also domain expertise. I mean, if you don't have domain expertise in the field you're doing corporate communication, you will not be able to communicate. So that also becomes very important for the youngster to know.
You have another 6 years of service left in your current job, and I'm assuming you will continue till you retire there. What after that? What do you plan to do after retirement?
That's very interesting. Probably I haven't written anything now. I think I might be writing a book, or maybe helping out youngsters to gain knowledge through the quiz platforms and things like that. So these are my broad goals. Let's see what happens after 6 years.
Yeah, we will. But I thought I should ask you that question generally. We are almost at the end of our interview right now. We have a rapid fire round pending. And as a quizzer, you love it, I'm sure. Is there anything you want to add, Prashanth, that you felt, I wish the interview asked me, but it didn't come up?
What I could advise my youngsters is that, it's the corporate communication looks glamorous from outside, but if you want to be really successful, you should be ready to work 24 by 7. I mean, you cannot expect that you can be working from 9 to 6 and then close your book, because it's going to be 24 by 7 kind of job. And then there is a lot of hard work also to be successful. So as I said, reading, writing, and getting domain knowledge, expertise. These are the areas which will help you to become a good corporate communication executive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We'll now move to the rapid fire round. I have a bunch of questions. You have just 5 seconds to answer each. Not too much time to hang around with these questions.
Not a multiple choice question?
No, they're straightforward rapid fire questions. We'll start off. Which is the brand you trust the most?
Infosys.
Which is your favorite book?
I recently started reading a book called Ikigai. It's a Japanese philosophy about, why do you get up in the morning?
Okay.
That's the basic thing about Ikigai. It's a very interesting book.
One corporate communications person you admire the most outside of your company?
R.K. Nair. He has been my mentor and a boss. And
you're playing that safe.
Yeah.
Cool. Name a campaign or a brand, an Indian campaign or a brand that stands out for you as a unique campaign.
The Fevicol campaign was, Piyush Pandey's Fevicol campaign was
you
really
inspiring.
inspiring.
You should be a Piyush Pandey fan, no doubt. Okay. What is your favorite holiday destination?
I think what I've been usually do during my holidays is I go to one Indian state. So I haven't gone to Assam. So I would probably like to go to Assam.
The last one, how would you describe KM Prashanth in 3 words?
Calm, focused, and problem solver.
Nice. Thank you so much, Prashanth.
Thank you.
It was great having you on Comm Speak on Founder India TV. We look forward to engaging with you offline as well in the future. That was KM Prashanth, the head of corporate communications at NTPC Limited. I hope you enjoyed the show. Share with us your feedback. Thank you.